There is something profoundly mysterious about the way pain unfolds in the quiet corners of life. Not the grand, public kind of suffering, the loud heartbreaks, the visible wounds, the dramatic falls from grace that everyone witnesses. No, I speak of a quieter ache, the ache hidden behind forced smiles, the tears that fall when no one is watching, the silent prayers whispered into pillows at midnight, those moments where your heart fractures beneath the weight of betrayal, yet the world remains oblivious to your breaking. And isn't that the cruelest part? The world carries on. The betrayers laugh. They live as if their actions have no consequence. You see them flourish, boast, even stand proud while your soul is crawling through the ruins they left behind. You wonder if God saw it. You wonder if justice sleeps. You wonder if your quiet tears meant nothing at all. But I assure you, they meant everything. You see, God is not blind to silent suffering. He is not deaf to the weeping that no one else hears. He is not absent when betrayal strikes from those you trusted most. It may seem, for a time, that the wicked thrive and the pure of heart are left in ruins, but history, divine history, tells another story. A story where the quiet tears of the betrayed become the roaring regret of the betrayer. A story where justice is not swift, but it is certain. Betrayal by its nature always hides behind shadows. It thrives in secrecy, cowardice, and selfishness. It strikes from the places closest to your heart: family, friends, those who once held your trust. But God is not confined to human timelines. He lets the betrayer believe they've won for a season. He lets them parade their false peace, bask in their temporary success, and flaunt their unearned victories. But in the silence, God is moving. In the unseen, He is orchestrating justice with divine precision. It often begins subtly. The discomfort in their spirit, the emptiness behind their smiles, the weight pressing on their chest at night when they're alone with their conscience. The same peace they stole from you becomes unreachable to them. Their mind, once arrogant with betrayal, now wrestles with invisible chains of regret. It gnaws at them quietly at first, then it grows, louder, heavier, undeniable. What they thought was victory reveals itself as a curse, dressed in temporary comfort. You must understand this. God doesn't just react to betrayal. He prepares a response so perfect, so thorough, it leaves no room for misunderstanding. He lets the quiet tears of the innocent water the soil of His justice. The seeds of your suffering do not die. They grow into mighty trees that cast shadows over the conscience of those who wronged you. And beneath those shadows, regret festers. One day their laughter fades, their pride cracks. The life they thought they built upon, betrayal begins to crumble, not by your hand, but by the inevitable laws God has woven into existence. The betrayer cannot escape what they've sown. Regret becomes their companion, louder than their lies, heavier than their pride. You don't have to fight for your vindication. God has already written it into the story. And so, though your tears fall quietly, they shake the heavens. Though your suffering seems silent, it echoes in eternity. Though betrayal feels unanswered, God's justice is never absent. It's simply patient. Those who betrayed you will face the haunting truth. Your quiet tears will be their loudest regret. And when that day comes, you won't have to raise your voice, because God Himself will speak on your behalf. Their temporary peace turns into restlessness. They can't explain. There is a deceptive calm that often blankets those who betray. In the beginning, they walk confidently, convinced they've escaped consequence. Their words remain sharp, their smiles remain steady, their routines untouched by the destruction they've caused. They believe their peace is secure, untouched by guilt, unshaken by the pain they left behind. But what they fail to understand is that God allows false peace to breathe for a season, not as a reward, but as a setup for His justice to unfold. Restlessness does not arrive like a storm. It sneaks in like a shadow. At first it's a faint discomfort, a subtle unease in their chest when they sit alone. Their mind, once so sure of itself, begins to waver. Their confidence, once bold, cracks beneath the weight of quiet thoughts they cannot escape. They tell themselves they're fine. They convince themselves that your tears were weakness, that their actions were justified, but inside, something has begun to unravel. It starts with sleepless nights, a tossing and turning they blame on stress or coincidence, but deep within, their spirit knows. The seeds they sowed in betrayal are beginning to bloom, and the harvest is regret. They wake up weary, not from the day's labor, but from the burden pressing on their soul. They seek distractions, work, relationships, temporary pleasures, but nothing silences the whispers reminding them of what they did. No achievement feels fulfilling. No laughter sounds genuine. This is where God's unseen justice takes root. The betrayer may still look the same to the world, strong, unaffected, victorious, but their peace has been invaded by an enemy they can't outrun: themselves. Their spirit becomes divided. One part desperately clings to the illusion of peace, while the other begins to crumble beneath the truth. And that truth, though unspoken, grows louder every day. Have you ever wondered why some people seem agitated despite having everything they once chased? Why their eyes dart nervously in conversation? Why their smiles falter unexpectedly? Why their words lack the weight of peace? It's because God allows restlessness to settle where betrayal once stood. The same quiet tears you wept in hidden places now echo in their restless heart. And the more they ignore it, the louder it becomes. This restlessness is the first sign, the gentle cracking of the false peace they built upon your suffering. They won't admit it, not yet. Pride holds their lips closed, but deep inside their spirit knows the truth. The same God who witnessed your tears is now whispering to their conscience, and He will not be silenced. Their blessings begin to collapse when no one is watching. God's justice often moves in silence, much like betrayal does. It doesn't always announce itself with thunder or calamity, but rather begins in the hidden places, the quiet corners of life where no one is paying attention. This is precisely how their blessings begin to collapse. Silently, steadily, without warning. At first glance, it seems as though everything remains untouched. They may still hold the job they schemed for. They may still possess the relationships they manipulated to gain. They may walk with their head held high, basking in temporary accomplishments. But beneath the surface, the foundation begins to fracture, and they don't even notice it happening. You see, blessings gained through betrayal are not blessings at all. They are ticking reminders of the damage they caused, the spoils of their deceit. And God, in His unmatched wisdom, allows those false blessings to unravel, not in public spectacle, but in the quiet spaces where pride is most vulnerable. The money they secured begins to feel heavy. Opportunities they celebrated turn sour. Relationships they thought would fulfill them reveal cracks. They tell themselves it's normal. Life has ups and downs. But deep inside they know the collapse isn't random. It's a response. It's God rearranging their comfort into discomfort. It's justice taking shape, not through your hands, but through divine orchestration. There's something profoundly unsettling about watching your life unravel when no one else sees it happening. It makes the collapse lonelier, more humiliating. Friends applaud them, family praises them, social media shows their victories, but when they return home, when the world goes quiet, the truth confronts them. The weight of what they've lost begins to outweigh what they thought they gained. And here is the truth they can't escape. God never allows blessings built on betrayal to stand unchallenged. The job they secured at your expense, the happiness they stole from your trust, the peace they shattered, all of it begins to slip through their fingers like sand. It starts small, failed plans, strained connections, unexplained losses. But over time, the collapse accelerates, and they can't hide it from themselves any longer. They may still pretend to the world that everything is perfect, but their eyes reveal the cracks. Their words tremble with uncertainty. Their heart knows. What they took through betrayal is turning to dust, and no amount of false pride can stop it. Their relationships break apart the same way they broke your trust. Betrayal is a seed. What they sowed into your life inevitably finds its way back into theirs. The betrayal they inflicted upon you was not just an isolated act, it was a blueprint they unknowingly created for their own downfall. One of the clearest signs of this is when their relationships, the very connections they lean on, begin to break apart, mirroring the same pain they caused you. At first, they seem surrounded. Friends, family, admirers, they gather people with ease. It feels as though they've escaped accountability, embraced by those who only see the surface. But relationships rooted in falsehood, manipulation, or pride cannot stand the test of time. Slowly the cracks appear. Misunderstandings grow. Loyalties weaken. The very foundation of their connections begins to crumble. Not because of outside forces, but because of the spiritual fracture within them. They broke your trust so easily, believing relationships are disposable, emotions replaceable, loyalty meaningless. But now they experience the same unraveling they once orchestrated. Friends distance themselves. Conversations lose depth. The warmth of companionship grows cold. They sit in crowded rooms yet feel utterly alone. It's an emptiness far more profound than mere isolation. It's the echo of their own betrayal reverberating back into their life. What they once mocked, the pain of losing trust, the devastation of broken bonds, now stalks them. The same confusion, the same ache, the same questioning of worth that they forced upon you now lives in their heart. They cannot build genuine relationships when their foundation is cracked with deceit. And here's the deeper truth. When someone betrays you, they betray a part of themselves too. Integrity is sacrificed, honor is abandoned, the purity of their spirit dims. And without that, every relationship they touch becomes tainted by the residue of their choices. They wonder why people drift away, why connections lose meaning, why they can't seem to hold on to trust. But the answer is woven into their actions. God allows this unraveling, not as punishment alone, but as a mirror, a reflection of their choices staring back at them. They cannot escape the pattern. Every lie returns. Every act of disloyalty seeds division. The same trust they destroyed in you now shatters around them, piece by painful piece. They thought they could hurt you quietly and move on, but relationships built on falsehood are destined to collapse. God ensures that no betrayal goes unanswered, especially when it comes to trust. Their conscience torments them, louder than any external punishment. There is no prison more suffocating than the human conscience, especially when God allows it to become the battleground for justice. External punishment, loss of status, relationships, material gain can be endured, but when the torment lies within, when the mind turns against itself, there is no escape. And this is precisely where their betrayal begins to haunt them. On the outside, they may seem composed. Their words may remain calculated, their expression cold, their pride intact. But inside, their spirit is at war. The conscience, once quiet beneath layers of arrogance and denial, begins to stir. At first, it's a whisper, a faint discomfort when they remember your face, your trust, your pain. But as time passes, the whisper grows into an unrelenting storm. Sleep evades them. Even in their dreams, fragments of the past surface, the betrayal, the lies, the shattered trust. They wake, restless, their heart racing with an unease they can't explain to anyone. They try to silence it with distractions, work, noise, temporary pleasures, but nothing dulls the roar of conscience once God has awakened it. And it does not stop with sleepless nights. Their thoughts spiral. Moments of peace are fleeting. They hear your voice in their memories. The innocence they violated, the vulnerability they crushed, the loyalty they discarded. They wonder at first if they can bury it beneath excuses, justifications, or blame. But conscience is not silenced by lies. It feeds on truth, and truth, once awakened, refuses to retreat. This is God's divine design, allowing the betrayer to sit with their own actions, stripped of external distractions, face to face with the weight of what they've done. There is no courtroom, no audience, no judgment from others, just them, their choices, and the suffocating echo of regret. The mind becomes their tormentor. Every quiet moment, every pause, brings the betrayal rushing back like a flood, and the more they resist it, the louder it becomes. They cannot numb the conscience. They cannot hide from themselves. They cannot outrun the justice unfolding within their very soul. What they did to you was quiet, hidden, calculated. But the regret God places in their conscience is relentless, loud and inescapable. It follows them, whispers to them, suffocates their false peace, reminding them that no betrayal, especially against the innocent, goes unanswered. Things they gain through betrayal become the source of their misery. And there's a cruel irony woven into the fabric of betrayal. The very things the betrayer gains often become the chains that bind them. What they thought was success, what they believed to be victory, eventually reveals itself as a bitter prison of their own making. God, in His infinite wisdom, often allows this. He lets them taste the spoils of their actions, only for those spoils to rot in their hands. At first, everything seems perfect to them. The job they secured by stepping on your heart, the relationship they entered by betraying your loyalty, the status they climbed towards by sacrificing your trust, all of it shines brightly. They flaunt their gains as proof of their cleverness. To the outside world, it appears they've triumphed, that their betrayal paved the way for a better life. But false blessings never hold their shape for long. God does not allow peace to thrive on foundations built from broken hearts. Slowly, the things they obtained, the job, the relationship, the success, begin to twist into burdens. The job that once symbolized their ascent becomes a daily source of anxiety. They sit in meetings, surrounded by opportunities, yet their heart is restless, their mind clouded. The excitement fades, the weight grows. The relationship they secured through manipulation or deception begins to unravel. The partner they chose, or the friends they prioritized, reveal themselves to be mirrors of their own choices. Disloyal, selfish, temporary. What was once a source of pride now feels empty, hollow, draining. They look around and realize they are surrounded by what they once envied, yet their spirit feels depleted. Even their material possessions lose meaning. The house, the car, the luxuries they chased. They sit in the midst of it all, yet feel nothing but hollowness creeping in. The joy is fleeting, the satisfaction elusive. And every quiet moment reminds them of the price they paid, the trust they shattered, the pure soul they discarded, the tears they caused. This is how God turns their gain into misery. It is not immediate. It is not always visible to others. But within their heart, within the deepest chambers of their soul, the truth festers. They realize the life they built is laced with regret. They cannot enjoy their victories when they know their foundation is poisoned by betrayal. Their misery is unique. It isn't caused by external failures, but by the haunting knowledge that everything they possess was gained at the expense of someone's trust, someone's love, someone's pure heart. Yours. The bitterness follows them. It poisons their achievements. It creeps into their mind at night, whispering that no amount of success can silence a guilty spirit. They may smile in public, but their heart is a battlefield. What they thought would bring peace now brings only heaviness. The things they gained become reminders of what they lost. Their integrity, their peace, their chance to live without the haunting shadow of their own actions. They believed betrayal would elevate them, but instead, it chained them to a life where misery follows their every step, where even their blessings feel like curses, crafted by their own hand. The people they impress with their deception start to see their true face. There's a strange comfort the betrayer finds in early admiration. They deceive not only the one they betray, but also the crowd that surrounds them, the friends, colleagues, family members who applaud their surface-level charm, their apparent success, their ability to navigate life with boldness. For a time they live behind this mask, intoxicated by the illusion that they have outsmarted everyone, that they have fooled the world. But masks are temporary. Deception has an expiry date. God ensures that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, always claws its way to the surface. The very people who once admired them, the ones who celebrated their ambition, their achievements, their confidence, begin to sense the cracks. It starts small, a subtle inconsistency in their story, a contradiction in their words, a glimpse of arrogance hidden beneath the charm. The image they projected begins to distort, and those around them, once blind, start to see with unsettling clarity. Whispers circulate, doubts form, conversations shift. The trust they manipulated begins to erode, not because someone exposed them, but because their true character refuses to remain hidden. God has a way of allowing deception to self-destruct. The lies they spoke, the facade they upheld, the false narrative they constructed. Slowly all of it begins to unravel in the presence of those they sought to impress. But many, nevertheless, find it their friends grow distant, their supporters hesitate, their relationships feel strained, shallow, transactional. The applause fades, the admiration dims. What once seemed like unwavering support transforms into suspicion, caution, quiet judgment. They realize too late that manipulation only buys temporary loyalty, not genuine respect. The people who once praised them now watch with skeptical eyes. Their charm no longer holds weight. Their stories lack credibility. Their actions are met with raised brows, not applause. They walk into rooms filled with familiar faces, yet feel like a stranger among them, exposed, vulnerable. And here lies the divine justice. God reveals the truth without theatrics. He lets it unravel naturally, gradually, undeniably. Those who once celebrated the betrayer now distance themselves. Their reputation, once polished and protected, begins to crack under the weight of their own actions. They thought they could betray you quietly, manipulate others effortlessly, and live untouched. But God never allows betrayal to thrive unchecked. The people they impressed now see the reality, the selfishness, the arrogance, the hidden cruelty. Their true face emerges, and with it, the relationships they once controlled crumble into distant, hollow connections. Their heart becomes hollow, and they finally realize they lost the purest soul they'll never replace. There is no greater regret than realizing, too late, that you destroyed the one person who loved you without conditions, that you betrayed a soul so pure, so genuine, that its absence leaves a void nothing else can fill. And this is the final, most undeniable consequence God allows, the hollowing of their heart. For a time they believe they've won. They believe the world is abundant with opportunities, people, admiration, and gain. They deceive themselves into thinking your love, your loyalty, your presence was replaceable, that breaking your heart carried no cost. They parade their arrogance, distracted by temporary triumphs, but time is a patient teacher, and God, in his unmatched justice, allows time to strip away the illusion. It begins with an emptiness they cannot explain. At first it's subtle. The celebrations feel dull, the victories feel incomplete, the friendships feel shallow. They crave meaning, but it slips through their fingers like smoke. They surround themselves with people yet feel lonelier than ever. Their heart, once so sure, begins to tremble with quiet uncertainty. They reach for connection, but it feels counterfeit. They try to forge new relationships, but the depth is missing. No one sees them the way you did. No one trusts them the way you trusted. No one protects their soul the way you guarded theirs. They realize that the purity they discarded in you is not easily found again, and it dawns on them with a weight so heavy it suffocates. The loss was never yours. It was theirs. They lost the kind of love that cannot be manufactured. They lost the safe place your heart provided. They lost the prayers you whispered for their success, the belief you carried for their potential, the unwavering loyalty you held even when they faltered. It is in this realization that their heart begins to hollow. They cannot replace the purity of your soul with distractions, achievements, or new faces. God designs certain people to be rare, irreplaceable, a divine gift, wrapped in human fragility. You were that gift, and they, blinded by pride, betrayed it. As they watch their life unfold, surrounded by artificial connections, fleeting moments, and shallow victories, the regret grows louder. They remember your tears, your patience, your unwavering love, and the hollowness within them deepens, echoing with the understanding that they forfeited something sacred. This is how God works. He allows them to wander, to believe the lie that you are disposable, to taste temporary success, only to bring them back to the haunting truth. They lost a pure soul they will never find again. No amount of chasing, building, or pretending can silence the ache within them. Their heart, now fractured by their own hand, beats with regret. Every false connection reminds them of what they destroyed. Every shallow relationship mirrors their betrayal. The very life they built without you feels incomplete, haunted by the emptiness only their actions created. They may hide it from the world. They may laugh, perform, succeed on the surface, but deep within, the hollowness whispers relentlessly. They traded purity for pride, loyalty for lies, love for selfish gain. And now, they carry the burden of that choice in every lonely moment, in every empty victory, in every quiet realization that what they lost in you can never be replaced. Betrayal often feels like the final word. When those you trusted most wound you in silence, when your tears fall unseen, when your suffering is dismissed, it feels as though the story has ended in defeat. But God's justice is never rushed. It is steady, intentional, and far-reaching. While your tears fall quietly, they are not ignored. While your heart breaks in silence, heaven takes note. And while your pain feels unanswered, God is crafting a justice so complete, so undeniable, that even the deepest betrayal cannot outrun it. The betrayer may walk in false peace, but it will turn to restlessness. Their gains will crumble, their relationships will fracture, their conscience will haunt them. Their hollow victories will collapse beneath the weight of regret. Their admiration will fade as their true face emerges, and their heart, once proud, will hollow with the understanding that they lost something pure, irreplaceable, and divinely sent. Your quiet tears are not forgotten. They water the soil of justice. And when the time is right, your pain becomes their regret, your loss becomes their emptiness, and your quiet suffering becomes the echo that haunts them, louder than any punishment the world could offer. God never lets betrayal go unanswered. The story isn't over, He is still writing it, and the ending belongs to you.